Hi, this is your lesson for myfreeactingclass.com on Monday, September the 21st. My name is Michael Bean. Today we're talking about camera technique. So I'm going to take a quick look at the one person who did the Actors Challenge from last week. Man, I was so stoked about that script. I thought a bunch of you were going to do it, but at least we got to practice on Thursday. Splitting up the eye lines, and it was a more animated comedy than I've done for any of the Actors Challenges recently. And then we're going to go over a couple of little scripts, talk about how to do those things on camera, and hopefully get you to do a little bit of practice. So the quick reminder for camera technique is frame what the camera sees. Right, so you want to be and framing medium close-up. So this is me in a medium close-up. I can adjust this frame further back by just adjusting my device back, and then you'll see, there we go. So if we go back here, as what's this is more of a medium shot, and you can see that you just can't see as much of how I'm feeling from here. And so my strong recommendation for your film and TV auditions is that you arrange them to be in a medium close-up. Ideally, you want the camera to be approximately level with your eyes. This camera is just slightly below my eyes. And so you can see that if I lift it up, not only do you get better eye light, better reflected light in my eyes, but I just look better and more human. Now, I have a stack of books, so today it's me that is breaking my own rules a little bit. But you can see that it changes the perspective if I'm looking down at you like this. Yes, eye light, the imaginary light, eye line is the imaginary line between your eyes and what you're looking at. Eye light is the light that's reflecting your eyes. Currently, I'm across from a big window. Also, if I really wanted some extra eye light, and I didn't mind it being a little bit warmer, I've got a desk lamp here on my desk, and I can just click that on. Ha! Extra eye light, right? My eyes are extra shiny. You notice more. So. There we go. That's your extremely quick reminder for Mondays. Let's take a quick look at Melissa's tape, which I've got here on YouTube. Shoop.
Hey, you remember Uncle Brady?
Right, so neutral background, clear eye light. I've got a little bit too much space over her head.
Honey, come on. No, he didn't.
So great job. Big feelings about stupid stuff. We talked about this in our comedy lesson last week. She's just really committing to it. And being bigger than we've seen her before. So in the context of a class practice, I would say right on, like great explorations is exactly what we need. Probably this is the kind of thing where if she was doing this in the room, they would say, okay, now just do a little bit less. If you were doing a home tape, what you would want to do is something this animated, and then you'd want to do like a stripped down version that was just you being completely honest, so that you could see both of them side by side.
Oh, sweetie, I love all your moods.
Right, so this role is particularly challenging because we've got those split eye lines and the different relationships between the two characters. There's the series of time where the character who Melissa's playing doesn't talk. Instead, she's just reacting. And so she's doing the thing that I think many actors will fall into, which is she's indicating her reactions. So this is one of those things that seems really simple on the surface, right? So the idea is simple to grasp. It's actually very difficult to do, which is to have a clear relationship with this person and a clear relationship with this person, and trust that if you have personalized those relationships and they're clear enough for you, they will come across. The example that I often use in class is, well, I mean, the basic idea is if we see you trying to feel something, even if that's us, if we see Melissa there trying to have her reactions, right? You saw that there was a lot of white all the way around her eyes. Typically that micro expression, of this, is like fear or panic, which I don't think is accurate for what the character was experiencing. So my guess is that that's us just seeing her being slightly adrenalized or escalated. You see it in tapes all the time. You probably will see it in some of your own tapes where there's just like a little bit of this going on. Happens all the time with actors. You'll also sometimes see this, right? You're talking to them and they're fine, and then they start acting, and suddenly there's a lot of this. The one of the reasons that I think it's important to know your lines really well is that extra energy, that adrenaline, is going to go somewhere. And if you haven't rehearsed your lines to the point where you can do them with ease, even with that adrenaline in your body, usually you're going to get some kind of physical behavior that indicates it. And so it's not like, here's this thing I need you to control your face. It's like, here's the indicator that probably we want to bring more ease and something more settled into this. Also, I would say that the relationships between those two characters were not quite as distinct as they could have been, right? It would have been nice, to see like a really clear opinion of the husband that showed us that, like, they were a unit, that there was history there, and a different opinion of the teen daughter. The risk with that scene is, because everybody's kind of irritating, is that everything ends up kind of irritating. So much respect to Melissa for like making the time for that, and also for letting me talk about it publicly. So thank you, Melissa, for that. Now let's look at a couple of short scripts just for fun. So we've got, we'll start with an adult one. The Candy and Dia, are you both in a position to read if I share the screen with you? Like, are you somewhere that's where we can hear you? Can you unmute yourselves?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. And so there aren't there's not a lot of dialogue in this. The Candy, you can be Nebuchadnezzar man. And Dia, you can be woman number one and woman number two. Right, so this is a single line of dialogue, from Nebuchadnezzar man. This is actually something that I auditioned for like 15 years ago or something. For a while, I had this one casting director who was like, I'm the sort of a little bit of an odd duck in that, like, I occur visually as quite masculine, and I'm this like very sensitive dude. And so I had this one casting director who, for a while, every time he needed somebody to be like beaten by their wife and cry, he was like, yeah, this guy's a nebbish, he loser, Michael B. I'm gonna cast him. Like, I'm gonna bring him in for the audition. I was like, okay, well. And I just offered that as an example of like the utterly ridiculous, strange visual stereotypes, that you will end up having to deal with in film and TV, and often really not flattering. Like, they'll say in the breakdown something that is either just like totally misogynist, or like deeply unflattering, and you'll have to be like, well, they're jerks, but I'll be on your TV show. I'll take your money. I reject your values. It's an interesting balance that I think those of us who are sensitive humans, who, I don't know, care about making a difference in the world, run into when we're interacting with a monolithic system that is very, very slow to change. And there is very slow change happening, but particularly breakdowns for female characters still spend a lot of time talking about what their character looks like. Right, and you sort of uses superlative, very like male gazy adjectives. Less now than before, but you still you still see a lot of that in breakdowns. You sort of have to be ready for it when you start seeing film TV breakdowns. We're like, okay, great, just going to ignore that stuff and look for the things that are actually relevant about the character. Like, that's great that some male writer or male breakdown writer thinks she's really pretty and wants to use a bunch of cool adjectives, but like, now let's get through the rest of it. Anyway, sorry, that's my own little rant about the film and TV industry. I haven't talked very much about that, but I think it's important to bring in. So this is from a show called Eureka. It's a comedy. I'm going to read the crossed out parts because I think that gives you enough information that then you can actually make the choices that you need to make about this. So Eureka, Noche de Sueños. Act 2, we've got page 22 here at the top. That tells us that you're part way into the script. This was a network TV show, so probably the whole script's only going to be, what, 45 to 50 pages, because it's going to be a 42-minute episode with 18 minutes for commercials. You probably heard the EKG, and that's how your subconscious interpreted it. Actually, the nurse who has it out for Fargo makes an admission. I don't think so. Okay, any particular reason why? She looks at Carter, then over at Jake's body, because I had the same dream. Resident, stepping forward, so did I. Joe, looking at Carter, looks like we're not the only ones sharing dreams. Carter, and now they may be deadly. Off the screen revelation. Interior Global Dynamics, Allison's office, day. Now we know where we are. Global Dynamics. Allison is briefed by Carter and Joe in her office. Outside her office window, 2 women researchers are having a heated discussion while a nebbishy man attempts to intervene. You want to run all that by me again? Fargo, the head nurse, and 3 residents sleeping in the lounge across the hall had the same dream about Jake's death. How can that be? We don't know, but they're not the only ones sharing dreams. We've been getting domestic disturbance calls all morning. Like what? A scream makes them turn. In the rotunda, one of the arguing women has grabbed the hair of the other. Nebbishy man tries to separate them.
Get her off me.
This is you, Candy. Candy. Candy.
Okay. Honey, please, it was just a dream.
I saw you 2 together. How do you like my husband now, slut? I wasn't sure if I was meant to say that.
Yeah, the trail off on the like, oh, am I allowed to see this in, on a mixed age group? I didn't, think about whether or not I could, black that out either. What I wanted, to do, the reason I wanted to do this one is to get her off me, because, camera technique, I like pulling these sort of bizarre scripts. And what we've got here, is, a scream. One of the arguing women has grabbed the hair of the other. So if you're going out for auditioning for woman number 1, you scream because somebody has grabbed your hair, and then your line is "get her off me." How are you supposed to do that? If you're doing this from home, or if you are. So that's what I wanted to play with today. Now, obviously, I don't have hair, but I don't think that honestly, I don't think it's a good idea to pull your own hair, even if you've got hair. I don't think that's going to work. My sense is, and we've been through this before. Try exactly what it says in the script. Then keep it just out of frame. And then if you need to, change it to be something else that tells the story. So let's start with Candy because she's left her video on. Okay. So Candy, can you scooch closer to your camera, or your camera closer to you? Right, just so you're in that medium close up a little bit. Right. Yeah. Excellent. Good. Now, if you were doing exactly what it said, now normally I would say don't cut off the top of your head, but now what if you just, okay, so first let's do it exactly like it says, right? So somebody's pulling your hair, and you're like, get them off of me. Yeah, exactly. So stand by and action.
Get them off me.
Right, which actually is not terrible. Right, it's like we can imagine the lady there. That's actually okay. Now, if you wanted to then cheat it outside of frame, all you'd have to do is tip your camera down a little bit, just cut off the top of your head, so that we can't see that you're right. And then you can even lean in. God. Yeah, exactly. And now we can believe that she's pulling your hair because you're sort of leaning in towards camera, and we can imagine somebody's there yanking your hair. Exactly. And this time, add the scream. One of the things that there's 100 of these little things, and this is one that I have not had a chance to cover yet, which is that if you start in the middle of the action, if you start sort of already knowing what's happening in the scene, it's not bad. But if you have the opportunity to start far away from it and have that first moment be discovery, then you end up doing more acting. It's more challenging. It's also more interesting to watch. right? If you start with somebody already pulling your hair, okay. But if you're like having this conversation and then suddenly you have to react to somebody grabbing your hair by surprise, then maybe the scene becomes that much more interesting. So you're going to want to tip the camera down a little bit to cut off more of your head, right? And we're only doing that because we're trying to keep it outside the frame, And so you're having this intense conversation. You're looking on this side of the camera, exactly. And then on action, you're going to scream, and the lady's going to pull your hair towards the other side of the camera, and you're going to say, "Get her off me." Stand by, and action. Grab.
Get off of me!
Good, and then you would just want to keep acting until you're heard cut. So really normal. To like that thing happened there of the smile where it's like, I feel weird. I'm going to make it stop. Kaden, you want to try? You want to have somebody pull your hair?
No. Yeah.
Okay, duly noted. And then if we were going to change that, right? So if we're going to change it from a hair pull, to something else that would tell the story, what might work? Right. So the idea is that the person you're fighting with grabs you and is trying to drag you somewhere. So what's another way that we could tell that same story?
Like someone grabs you by the arm and pulls you?
Exactly, right? Which we've done, here lots of times. So instead of, like I don't have hair. If I'm like, if they brought me in for this, and actually tomorrow I'm auditioning for a character who's written as like having the longest hair in the Northwest. Obviously, I'm not going to have a ponytail, right? Like cool. Well, they clearly want to see some different options, or they wouldn't bring in me. So, so if you're being pulled by the arm, remember that you can do resistance on your own arm. So I'm here and I'm talking to Candy, and I'm like, look, Candy, and maybe I even start, as though I'm about to say something, and then get her off of me. And I'm just, all I'm doing is pulling against my own arm. Great. Did that work, Kaden?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So that's like a piece of physical behavior that still justifies the line, get her off of me. Doesn't have to be about hair. There's another sort of category of things that we can do in this situation, that alters it. Does anybody remember like that a change that we can make? So instead of an arm pull, what can we do here, changing it that would still tell the story? Or does anybody have another creative idea? Throw a drink? Yeah, right. Like you could make it a fight. You could be the attacker. It would be fun. I mean, it's so small. Why not? So I'm here, and I'm talking to Candy, and then get her off of me. Right. And then I'm going on the attack, and we still get the same story, right? So you try a couple of things and you see on camera and you see it works. You also sometimes can sometimes you can change the line, or you can add a line. And this is particularly true when there's affection in the scene. One of the most effective changes that a student of mine ever made was a scene where there was supposed to be a kiss, and they just felt so weird doing the thing that we often do, which is like act as though you've been kissed, right? So you're there and you just have the moment of like, wow. But like some people, when they do that, like, oh my gosh, I feel like such a dork. I just can't handle it. And so she looked at her imaginary person and she said, I love you. And it worked in the context of the scene and it went forward. So sometimes you can, the change, you can even replace it with a sound or a couple of words. And so, so what if I replaced it with sound? What if I, instead I'm just like, trying to keep her at a distance, right? And so I'm talking to Candy, and then, get her off of me, right? And so I'm doing the like, we're fighting, I'm being aggressive, but I'm just being aggressive vocally instead of with my physicality. Totally possible as an option. All right, you know what? That's I can't believe it, but it's 4:25 already. And as much as I would like to Oh no, this isn't this week's Actors Challenge. Tomorrow, I'm gonna do tomorrow's. Tomorrow, I'm gonna give you this week's Actors Challenge. I'm gonna pick something, even shorter, to see if I can, make it accessible. Right? I want to give you something, that's doable, like the kind of commercial auditions, that you would get. And I know that the technical setup, is a barrier at the beginning. It takes time when it's really unfamiliar. So, rather than the option that I picked, Caden, let me see if I can find something simple from my archive of actor scenes, and maybe we can, do something that's like very short and fun and silly. There we go. Okay. Books are stupid. We did that one. Ah, fun. I've done this one a whole bunch of times. And so this is from the old show Degrassi. And so what we've got is, right, basically here's the serious conversation, between the two, who are like Declan and Holly, and, it's the, their relationship drama. And then this is the actual audition sides for accordion kid. Their eyes meet through the glass until a kid with an accordion walks in. It says, "I'm here to record for the musical." Sure, let's do it. And so it's a little bit of, it's a little bit of comic relief, but like you walk, basically the whole idea is that, this character, you interrupt the action, and so Caden, if you were going to do this one, you wouldn't need an accordion. You just need to come in from off camera, so come in from the edge of the camera and just be really loud and obnoxious, and say, "I'm here to record for the musical." And then after this, Dia, I'm going to ask you to do a demo, if you don't mind, the just something totally different. So let me pin Caden and stand by and action.
I'm here to record
For the musical.
for the musical.
Good, do it again, but even louder. Right, like you just don't notice that they're flirting with each other, and you want to be like really loud and obnoxious. Start off in the corner. Now you don't want to start completely off camera, even though you're entering. You want to start where the camera can see you, because a lot of the time they use that very first frame to as the picture. So they want to see your face right even in that first frame. Stand by, and action. We're having a serious conversation. I'm having a serious conversation.
I'm here for the music video for the musical.
Yeah, let's do it. Good. And then if we wanted like the completely different option, right? So, and Caden could come in, basically, if he's got this one line and his job is just to come in and be annoying, he could do anything he wanted that he thought was fun. Where like he could come in, with a musical instrument and like bang on a drum or toot on his horn. He could come in and go, and like get their attention, make it all about him. They could always be like, yeah, that's great, but now just do a little bit less. Now, Dia, are you willing to, are you somewhere where you can turn on your video? Pardon me?
Yeah. I'm at a friend's house. So I might.
Great. Well, no, we'll get Candy to demo.
Yeah.
So if Candy's coming in, to audition for the musical, let's say that she's already done the walking in, so they don't have to get her to stand up, and she gets here, and so on action, just look back and forth between them super awkwardly, because you just walked in the middle of this really awkward emotional conversation between these two people, and it is your time and you were supposed to be here, but just like give it lots of time. So it's kind of the timing wise is the opposite of Caden jumping in, but it's that relationship exactly between these two. So stand by and action. We're having this serious talk and serious. Say your line.
I'm here to audition for the musical.
I was like, wow, commitment. Like
Sorry.
I told her to wait long enough for it to get awkward. She really went for that. Yeah. So great. Okay. Anyway,
My mic. Sorry.
thanks for showing up and playing with me for a minute. Tune in tomorrow for story lesson and actors challenge. Wednesday we've got a guest. Thursday is Ask Me Anything, and Friday is Leanne. So, thanks everybody.
Thank you, Michael. Great.
Bye.
Bye.
You, Michael Bean.
Bye.
Bye.